Hi YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So, I did the video on this little thing, dirt cheap tyre remover for drift cars and tyre refitter, and I've had a few comments saying you can get a cheap metal one. So I know this is, looking at the design, it looks like it's loosely based on quite a few what are out there on market. And I think these are less than 30 quid, maybe 20 quid on AliExpress at the minute. So I thought, we'll try one. Straight away looking at it, it comes fully assembled. There's some curious little threaded holes in this part. And it does have, when I can find it, it's down there somewhere. It does have like the little bottom to hold the wheel. But one thing I've noticed, it's got the bearing fitted on the base of this, but the way the screw fastens in, as you try and undo it, it would literally undo itself and it'll fall off. See if I can show you. Yeah, like that. And if you tighten that screw up enough that it holds it on, it literally locks this base completely solid. So it's just going to screw around and scuff all your wheels. Which, yeah, straight away, not overly impressed with this. So you're going to have to try and guess how many times you need to back the screw off to screw around and shove your tyre on or off. But let's bring in for a close-up look and see what we make of it. So we got a bunch of different drift wheels. We got some cheap AliExpress ones. We've got some more expensive AliExpress drift tyres and wheels, and then we've got the ones that we've been using on the P-tile on some nice wheels. So let's have a look. It comes with this thing that, if we look, it's slightly tapered, doesn't look to be any different on either side, doesn't particularly hold the wheel perfect. But if we try and remove, so all I've done is wound this down a bit, so it's not, hopefully not going to scuff all his wheel up. But the issue is, as soon as you start screwing it in, it's going to try and hold these in, and then it starts spinning on the actual wheel. So we can use it to push off our wheel. It does look like it's going to scuff the wheel slightly, but certainly the P-tile tyres, it does manage to remove. But if we look, this is now completely solid, so it's going to be scuffing the wheel. Not sure if you'd be better off just removing the screw from it altogether and just pop it on when you want to use it. I think I'd be tempted to do that. It just seems like they've got the design of this bottom wrong, because that bearing is designed to run inside here, so you'd want the inner race running just on this, the outer race just on that, but then the screw through the middle just nips it all up solid. Bit of a weird design. So if we try and refit these, so as a rule, you usually get them started somewhere like, and then we just use one of these tools to push it the rest of the way, just to snap it in. But these are really easy wheels and tyres to fit. So yeah, the P-tile ones, kind of give it a pass on that. These AliExpress ones come already made up, so let's have a look, see how well it functions at removing these. As a rule, it's usually just getting them started that you want to do. So not exactly pushing it down perfect. It's kind of pushing it off to one side, and I think if we carried on with that, it'd probably damage the tyre. It'd start marking it. But it does get it started enough for you to get in there. As you see, we're kind of trying to push it off at a weird angle. But it did get it started. These are really, really tough to remove. So, not exactly a perfect win on this. Not sure if it's just going to take a few attempts, but it doesn't seem to hold it at all straight. Don't matter which way round I push it, it's always going off centre. Maybe we could get there just trying it a bit at a time. And just for curiosity's sake, let's spin this over, see if it's a slightly different shape on the opposite side. But you can see it's pretty much let it come completely out of line. And I'm not entirely sure if there's anything we're going to be able to do to get that to remove it squarely. Try and push it back in a bit. I mean, in my mind, it should be able to push it out, but again, going completely off to one side. And it's just going to pull that into there and damage it. I think basically it would get you most of the way there to remove it. Not my favourite, but if we try and refit it, so as a rule it's usually getting them started pretty easy, and then it's this last bit. So if we get it lined up, just drop it down till it's level. So I think we can kind of give it a pass on that. It does the job. It's just a little bit iffy. Now these, the cheap AliExpress ones, are an absolute pain to try and remove. But I did manage to do it quite easily with the cheap plastic tool. So let's see how we go with this. So it does push it off enough to sort of get a good grip on it, and you'd probably be able to remove it. In fact, let's give the tool a chance. See if that can push it all the way off. Now here it's definitely going to be awkward, because we can't leave the screw on it. But I think it's certainly gone through enough to pop it off. And I'll show you just what makes these tyres so awkward compared to the rest. They kind of holler inside, and they just have this weird little lip. So it does make it extremely awkward to put these on and off. But the tool does manage to get it off. So let's pop it through. Not sure how well it's going to do it getting this back on over that lip. But the plastic one did it. So let's see if we have any success with this. well, it's not looking good. So because it don't hold it straight, it's kind of gone through at all angles. Now I'm not sure if there's anything else you could do to get it to do that, but if I remember rightly, I'm pretty sure the cheap plastic one didn't really have any issues doing it. So if we get the cheap plastic one, let's see if we have any issues popping the dirt cheap AliExpress wheel back together. I wouldn't advise buying the AliExpress wheels, the really cheap nasty ones. Now, it didn't seem too difficult to get that to go down, but let's see if it's actually gone on straight. So, yeah, it's managed to clip it back on. So, I think the only takeaway from this is if you've got the really nasty cheap AliExpress wheels, you're probably better off with the plastic tool. As for the other wheels, if you've got any more sort of higher range ones, the wheels that are solid all the way through, other than it not particularly holding them straight, it doesn't really seem to have a problem removing them or refitting them. Is it easier than trying to shove them with your hands or heat the wheel up or cool them down? Or yeah, it definitely is. It seems to do the trick. I'm just not mega impressed that you have to leave this screw out. Not sure what we could do, whether we could shim it possibly, but ultimately the inner race is going to run on the end of that protrusion. And it just seems like if you put this screw in, as soon as you start tightening it up, and I'll show you what happens if I remove that. So as you screw it down, the screw just self-tightens and then this spins. And as soon as that's spinning, although it will push your wheel out eventually, it's going to score all your wheel up, which, especially if you've got painted wheels, you're not really going to want. And short of backing it out completely and taking the screw out, you can't really do it any other way. It just seems like they've kind of copied a design but not got it right. It feels to me like for this to work, you'd need a bearing in this side as well to tighten that up to. But then it's still going to try and spin. Yeah. It just seems a weird design that as soon as you try and turn this, it then locks this and it spins around with it. Not sure. Definitely something for the price of it. It will work if you take that screw out. Just keep the screw in to stop you losing it all when you're travelling around. I know there are other companies make versions of this. There's the Wtf Racing one, which I'd be interested to take a look at. I do know somebody that owns that, so I will have a look into the Wtf Racing one and see how they get around the sort of issue with that bottom tightening up. It did turn up with all these scratches on it, and it was in a separate pack, so they're from manufacturing. It's a hard one to recommend this. For the price of these little things, I can easily recommend that. It's small, it's dirt cheap, and it's managed to remove and replace any of the tyres I've put on it without too much drama. Yeah, it's not amazing build quality. You can mount this under there, but then I found it a bit annoying to have that bit stuck out, so I just put a screw-in end to make it like a T-top. At the end of the day, for the price that were, didn't mind. As for this, yeah, it can work, but especially its full price of around £30. I think they keep putting it on offer at like 20, but you've got a bit of delivery and import tax on it, so it still makes it around £30 delivered. It's bigger, it's bulkier, it's heavier, and I'm not ultimately convinced that it does a much better job than what this does. And this certainly has far less chance of damaging your wheels, as that spins on its own. It doesn't spin the bit that's pushing against the face of the tyre. And yeah, this design really can't refit the cheap AliExpress ones. Although if you're looking at something like this, you've probably got more expensive wheels and tyres. But yeah, I thought I'd get one on channel, give you guys a look, and yeah, you can decide whether it's worth taking a risk on this, or whether you'd want to save up a bit more money and buy one from one of the better known brands. Be interesting if any of you's got the Wtf Racing one, or one from any of the other bigger brands. Do you have this problem at the bottom where it tightens itself up all the time? If you do, comment below. If you don't, also comment below. Let me know. Are there better versions of this design out there? But let's wrap this one up. So, there you have it. Cheap AliExpress clone, I think this is, of sort of the Wtf Racing design and a few other brands. As I say, it kind of does the job. Not convinced for the extra money it does it any better than the plastic one. In some respects, not as good. But yeah, I saw it mentioned, so I thought I'd get one on and give you guys a look. 3 different wheel and tyre designs, see how it works, and you can make your own mind up. I'll leave link in description below. For me, can't really recommend it, but it depends on your needs and what tyres you've got. For me, I kind of lean more towards the dirt cheap plastic one. But yeah, I'll leave description in link below as always. But thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and catch you guys again in the next one.